The FIFA World Cup is just around the corner. We're about 9 days away from it, and we wanted to start doing a recurring thing over the next couple of podcasts, which we'll upload every Tuesday and Thursday. We wanted to, just start talking about the World Cup, and today we're going to be talking about 3 players that we each are really excited to watch at this FIFA World Cup. Obviously, Daniel's got the Mexico third kit, which I actually really like the Mexico third kit. I think it's a really clean looking jersey. I love the tricolor on the shoulders and also on the logo. That's sick. And they wore that for their 1-0 victory over Australia in the friendly a couple of days ago. Who are you guys playing in your second friendly?
I think it's I think it's Panama. Let me check.
Interesting. Okay.
We
Panama
played
just got destroyed by Brazil,
Oh no,
6-2.
Serbia. It's Serbia.
Serbia. Okay, so that's even worse because Serbia lost 3-0 to Cabo Verde, and that's
Lord.
a insane result for them. But I hope everybody has their 3 players. Yeah, we're good with that.
Yes.
Well,
And I will start with my first player that I'm really excited to watch at this year's World Cup. And I'm going to go a little bit in terms of, a really underrated guy that maybe not a lot of people are talking about, and then some higher level guys. I'll start with the higher level guy. I'm going to go with a pretty obvious one. It's going to be Lamine Yamal for Spain. This guy was a revelation at the last Euros, and I think for him to be heading into this tournament, and I think Spain are one of the favorites for this tournament, for him to be the lead man of Spain and try and win a World Cup for them for the first time since 2010. I think it's going to be really interesting how he performs. Now, Spain's group to me is actually one of the weaker groups in this World Cup. They have Cape Verde, they have Saudi Arabia, and they have an Uruguay team that I think is really reeling right now. And they had a couple of good performances against England, and but I still don't think that they're at the level that they were in the last couple of World Cups. So I think he's going to have the opportunity to really put a marker on these teams and then maybe head into the knockout stages with, a lot of goals under his belt. But this is a guy that's a phenom. A lot of young stars should be, striving to be like Lamine in terms of how he's progressed as a player. And I think that him heading into this World Cup with the expectations of being the favorite, I think it's such a interesting juxtaposition that you have such a young team with such high expectations, and I think that is really going to put forth a really fun tournament for Lamine Yamal. So I'm really excited for him and Spain heading into this World Cup. Daniel?
Is he still expected to miss the first couple matches?
Yeah, I heard about that. I think he may, but I think if he does play, I think that he'll be able to. Even if he does miss, I think he'll still be able to create enough of an impact in the limited games he does play in the group stage to really, get this team going where it needs to be as we head into the latter parts of this tournament.
Yeah. So for my first pick, I'm gonna take a Mexico player no matter what. But first player
Of course.
I'm ready to see is Gilberto Mora. Him being
Yeah.
I think it's 17. Just he's one of the youngest players playing in this World Cup, and just the fact that he got the call up and what historically, doesn't happen much for the Mexican national team. They don't really call young players up like this. So for it to happen and him to be basically what is supposed to be the future of Mexico's midfield, I'm very excited to see what he does. I think he's a lock at starter, and just what I've seen him do with that Tijuana team is just something that I haven't seen in a while, just for a Mexican player playing in the Mexican league at that. I think he's going to have a lot of eyes on him this World Cup. I want to see him create the chances he does when he's with Tijuana and just, ball out. I want him to ball out. I want him to get that move to Europe, and just I'm ready to see what he can do. He's very exciting player to watch.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think that Gilberto Mora, for as young as he is, I do agree with you that it feels like over the last couple of years they hadn't really been as keen on getting these really young guys into the roster, and for him to be having an impact for this team in this time frame is really exciting for the future World Cups, whether it's 2030 or 2034. Sergio, who you have for your first
disclaimer? I don't know a lot about soccer, so this is my heart. These are my heart picks.
It's all good. Hey, we'll pick up the slack.
For me, fine. I'm gonna be locked in on Team Mexico. That's my team. So with that, I'm choosing 40-year-old Memo Ochoa. I'm excited to watch him. It's probably his last World Cup. I don't know how much playing time he'll get because he's 40.
I love the
but I'm excited to watch him turn into a god, hopefully again for no reason. But yeah, I had a lot of fun watching him last World Cup.
Yeah, I think that it's so crazy. I think this is what, sixth World Cup, fifth World Cup, or sixth World Cup?
Sixth. It's
sixth World Cup for a goalkeeper, and again, he wasn't supposed to start this year, but the injury to, why am I blanking on his name? You know, Daniel. Malagon, Luis Malagon. The injury to him has kind of now forced Mexico to kind of choose. We'll see if he does start. I still think that there is a possibility that one of the other two goalkeepers will start in this tournament. But if he does, I think it's just going to provide for some cinema.
Great entertainment value.
We see him one more time. Yeah. Dan, what do you think about Memo Ochoa starting another World Cup? If he were to. Because I would be scared if I were you guys. But the group stage doesn't really present, besides South Korea, the group stage doesn't really present like that much winger or attacking threat besides South Korea, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it in a sense. Like, keeper is probably the one position where there's a lot more longevity in it, where you can be older and still be good at it. But, I mean, look at Szczęsny, for example. But just, I don't know. I feel like Memo has regressed a lot since the 2022 World Cup, as he hasn't played as much, realistically.
Yeah.
He's been bouncing around, these smaller European leagues these past couple years. And so just, I'm not opposed to it, but I'd rather want to see Talarangel in goal, at least for the first game, hopefully against South Korea too. But I wouldn't be surprised if, they put Memo in for the last group stage game, because obviously everyone's going to want to see him play. I could see it happening in the third game, or even just, being subbed on. Say you're winning 2-0, 85th minute, they'll put him in. But just overall, like, I don't think he's going to be the first option, but if they have to go to him, they will.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to move on to my second player, and this is a little bit off the wall, but I think that you guys can understand. I'm going to go with Amad Diallo, the winger for Ivory Coast and Manchester United. And the reason is, obviously, Ivory Coast won the AFCON, I think it was, two AFCONs ago, not the last one, but the one before that. And, I think Diallo and Diamond present a beautiful winger pairing for the Ivorians going into this World Cup. And I'm going to be really excited to see him as a young player playing in his first World Cup. I believe it is his first World Cup. He has the experience at Manchester United, and to kind of translate that to an African team that I think really has a shot to make a deep run in this tournament. He's going to be playing some good defenses in Germany, who have the guys like Jonathan Tah and Nico Schlotterbeck. And then Ecuador, which I think is one of the best defenses in the entire world. And so having a guy like that face those guys, face those defenses, and possibly make a deep run in this tournament, I think it will be an interesting prospect, and I'm really excited to see what he can do for this team.
So speaking of Manchester United wingers, my second pick was Mateus Cunha.
Okay.
So he's probably going to be rotation. Unfortunately. But I think he's going to be more of a rotational player in this World Cup, because obviously you got the likes of Vinny and Neymar both on this squad. But I just think the way he's played for this United team this season has, he's progressed himself a lot. I think he made a name for himself this year. Just, there were talks of selling him at one point, and now he's going to the World Cup with Brazil. It's just something that not every Brazilian gets to say that plays football. But I like his style of play on the wing. It's really fun to watch, you know. I don't watch much English football outside of Chelsea, but I'll watch United because that team is fun and young now.
Yeah.
But just in general, I think Cunha can do a lot this World Cup, mainly for himself. He might be a little bit selfish, but to progress himself in his career and just for that team overall. Like it just won't be much. Like I said, because
Yeah.
he's gonna be overshadowed by the likes of Vinny. But
He
given
could
his
start
time,
at striker. Like
that is
I
true.
did see him in the 9, and so he could start there. But yeah, that'll be really. I think he'll be a really fun player to watch in a sea of fun players that play for the Brazilian national team. Sergio,
Yeah.
who's your second
The
player?
most obvious pick in the world, Kylian Mbappe. Last World Cup, in the
Yes.
final, he was a lot of fun to
Dictator?
watch. He scored 3 goals, I believe, and then just seeing like clips just
Yeah,
from
hat trick.
him, just spread out throughout the years. It's just so impressive to watch him play, and obviously he's like one of the biggest players in the world. So you expect a lot from him, and they'll make a deep run in this tournament just because they won last time, and these huge expectations. Just the rest of the talent that they have on this team too.
Yeah. I think it's super interesting because Kylian Mbappe for Real Madrid, I don't think he played up to his level this year. And I think that this France team, 2018, they won the World Cup. 2022, they were runner-ups in the World Cup. And now, again, they're still kicking as favorites. I think they're the best team in the World Cup going into it right now. And, but I think that's more along the players that are alongside Kylian Mbappe, right? Like a Michael Olise or a Bradley Barcola. And you have all of these players now that are going to be vying for a spot in the starting lineup. And I think Mbappe, for maybe not the first time, but for a couple of times now, is going to be tasked with being the guy for this team. And he didn't have that great of a I'm saying relatively because obviously he still had a great La Liga season, but I think relatively this guy didn't play up to the par that he needed to, and now he's going to have an opportunity to do that in the World Cup. So I think it'll be really fun to watch Kylian Mbappe. All right, let's do this quick because we're on the clock. My third and final player, I had to go with the American. Obviously, I'm a USMNT fan, so I have to get my little propaganda out there as well. But I still think that this player is going to be super fun to watch come World Cup time, and I think he's probably the most informed player for the United States heading into this tournament. It's midfielder Weston McKennie. I think that Weston is probably on his day, if he plays up to up to a level, I think he's probably going to have the second highest peak behind Christian Pulisic on this team. Weston, I think, allows for this team to have a real dynamite in that midfield, and in this new 3-4-2-1 formation that Mauricio Pochettino has put in for this team, I think you can see Weston play in many different roles. Me personally, I think his best position for this team is probably playing as a cam or, I'm not going to say, because he plays literally everywhere. He could play wing back if he wanted to. I think playing cam is probably the best position for him. My issue with that is that you have to then start Berhalter or Roldan in the CDM role alongside Tyler Adams. And I don't know if I trust either of those guys. I was pulling my hair out watching, especially Christian Roldan. Sebastian Berhalter I've kind of, come around to a little bit. But watching Christian Roldan play soccer, in that game against Senegal, it's pulling my hair out. And so I would love to see Weston play as more of a deep-lying playmaker, maybe have Pulisic paired up with a guy like Malik Tillman or Gio Reyna in those 10 roles. But Weston provides something so unique for this team that I think that he's become a better player than he was in 2022. And I think I'm so excited to see him play against some of these midfields against Australia, which I think is a pretty good midfield. Paraguay, I would say their midfield is okay. And then Turkey, they have amazing cams, and we'll see which place on the field he plays during that game. But The opponents present something. I think the moment presents something unique for this team because Weston McKennie is going to be one of the big three players, in my opinion, for this team if they want success at this World Cup. And I think that the last thing I'll say about Weston McKennie, he's an absolute fighter jet when it comes to, heading the ball off of crosses and free kicks. And so I think that he provides something that only Chris Richards, I would say, also provides, that is an aerial threat that is going to be a real problem for defenses come the World Cup. So Weston McKennie is my third and final player.
Hey, just be happy you don't gotta watch Berhalter ball no more.
Greg Berhalter ball, not Sebastian Berhalter ball. Yeah, for sure.
But so my third pick, had to take a Chelsea player. It would have, without a doubt. I couldn't say it. I had to take him. Moises Caicedo.
Okay.
I think best CDM in the Prem. Had another great season despite Chelsea having a terrible year for Chelsea standards.
Rodrigo. Okay.
But just I think the way this guy possesses gets rid of the ball and his defensive ability to make these plays and make these stops are what has elevated his game to the next level. And him being in a team where you have arguably the two best center backs in the world right now with William Pacho and what's the name? What's the first name? I'm just saying Hincapié. But
Hincapié, yeah.
Yeah, Hincapié. But just he's that third defensive piece with, like you said, Ecuador probably being the best defense in this World Cup. He plays a part in that. Because he can control that midfield well. But when he has to drop back, he is able to drop back successfully. And I think that helps this Ecuador team a lot. Now, I know that attack isn't as strong as you would like it to be, but I still think this Ecuador team can make a big run into the knockouts. Granted, may have to play a little bit of haram ball, but with that defense, it's possible.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think Moises Caicedo is, again, one of the best CDMs in the world, and I think that if they want any sort of, pressure going forward and having some success against these defenses, then it's going to have to start with him, right? I think that he scored a goal in the last World Cup. He's probably going to have to score a lot more goals in this one, at least one or two. All right, Sergio, who's your last player for FIFA World Cup players to watch?
So I've got another Team USA player, but not for probably the reason that you think. I'm gonna pick Giovanni Reina
I think I know who this is.
He got kicked off of the team last time. Excuse me, for behavioral issues. So hopefully he'd mature enough over 4 years to not let that happen again. But that remains to be seen. But he's a name too. I think I've heard of his name before that too. Anyway, he's talented. So we'll see if he gets kicked off the team again.
No, yeah, I think he's grown for sure. I think that to me he should be starting alongside Pulisic. I know a lot of people will say Tillman. I really like Tillman as well, but I think Gio Reyna is just a different type of playmaker alongside Fuller and Balogun. And I think that he could provide something, but beyond, the whole club situation and him not playing as much. I think Giovanni Reina could be a really good piece for this USMNT when it goes into this World Cup. So, yeah, those are our three FIFA World Cup players to watch.